This is my long wheelbase 2.5 TDI Volkswagen Transporter. It's got a diesel leak coming from the fuel pump at the front of the engine. And if you're watching this video, you're probably in a similar situation to I am, where you've got a similar problem. So I'm going to give it a go at replacing an O-ring that sits between the head of the pump and the body of the pump. There's a few videos out there, but from what I could see, none that were doing it on an actual T4 without the pump removed. So I don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna work out as I go along. I've seen a few videos, like I said, and I guess if you're watching it, it's probably been successful. So there's a bit of a good news for you. So I'll try and film everything as best I can, film every step. My plan is to get the engine into top dead center, remove the radiator, remove the fuel lines, and then start accessing the pump. There's a little trick I've seen where you don't take the pump apart and then put it all back together. Sounds simple, but it won't be. So let's see how we get on. So first step, let's get the van up in the air. Let's get the front wheels off the ground. Let's put the chocks in. Okay, the van's up on jack stands now. I've got the jack stands on the outrigger thing there. Jack supporting the middle. You can see there's so much moisture from where the diesel's just been spraying out. All supported though. Next step's to take the belly pan off. I've got a little guard on my belly pan, which is just to protect it from bottoming out, because I've got short shocks on it. So what we're looking at, if I come under, what we're looking at is here's the pump here. And I think if you can just see behind these cables here, this is really hard to film. This is where the head, this thing, the darker colour, the head meets the body of the pump, head body. I think there's an O-ring in this little gap here, which needs replacing. So I'll turn the engine on. You can see it leaking. This is all soaked with diesel underneath. So I'll show you that, and then we can keep moving forward. Make sure we're not in gear. I think we are. Okay. What I'm going to try and do now is to start dismantling the front to get more access, and we can see what we're doing better. So I'm going to pull the front forward and then try and think about removing the radiator. To make things more difficult, I've got a second battery in the front here, and there's a bracket, and I'm thinking that's going to make it really hard for us to see the gearbox to work out top dead center. So I'm probably going to have to remove this as well. Okay, I might actually be in with a bit of luck here. If you look down there where I'm shining this torch, that there where my torch is, I believe is the flywheel, and there's meant to be a mark there which indicates top dead center. For context, if I come back, where we're looking is down there, so kind of behind the coolant and straight down. It's a little bit hard to see. It's just there. Okay, I was hoping that I could just spin the wheel with it in gear and that would move it all around, but being a fool, because it's, I guess, the open differential. So I need to get a socket on the main pulley, which is here, this thing. I haven't spanned this yet because my friend hasn't arrived, but I've just used a bit of black paint to mark one of the teeth on the flywheel. Hopefully that'll just give an indicator to me that you know, to demonstrate when the flywheel's done a full rotation, we may have missed the little marking point. So just a little note to myself. So there it is, lined up. So I'm just taking the going to pull the radiator forward into service mode now. I've already taken this bolt out here. Obviously you probably won't have this bracket, but there's one there. Need to remove these. Then there's some in here. got to remove those. One there, and then I think that's it, and then it just pops out here and the whole front comes off, and then you can pull this handle and lift it all forward, so get that into that position and go from there. I'm also hoping to replace this while we're doing all this, so yeah, keep going. Okay, I got the front forward here. I forgot to mention there was actually some additional screws you needed to remove to get the front panel off. That was straightforward. Took these bolts out. I've just put them back in their homes for safekeeping. And here I had to disconnect these, and this has all come forward. You can see this is all just battered, and I've actually lost a little hinge here. This is broken, so I might see if I can find another one of these. I need to work out how to remove these without breaking them. It looks like the back section should slide that way and out, but I think before I do that I'm going to see if I can remove this. And then there's some connectors. I think that's the thermostat there. This will need to come off. This will need to come off. I think it's probably the first one I'm going to take off, which will drain all the coolant from the system, so I need to be ready to catch that. That will need to come off, this top one. So 1 hose, 2 hose, 3 hose, 4 hose. And then down the bottom I think there's some connectors, which I can't see at the moment. So just disconnected the radiator. There was a line at the top here for power steering fluid, and that comes up here. This is the power steering fluid pipe, and then there's 2 coolant pipes. This one here, which goes into the top, and I've tucked it down there now. You can just see it. This one went to the bottom. I took that one off first. Took that one off second, and then the power steering lines, and it's just been draining into these buckets. I'm now popping off these hinges in an effort to just remove this whole front. The thermostat came out. I don't think it was clipped in properly actually, so don't know, loose connection. But just need to get this one off now, and I think there looks like another wire harness underneath, and that can all come out now and get out of the way. And the engine seems to be in top dead center as best I can tell, so on to the next step. Okay, the radiator's off now. We got good access, so we can see here now the pump. Next step I think is to remove these the fuel lines. This is looking really bad actually while I'm here. Might have a little look at buying a new part for that, seeing how hard that is to replace. I mean that can be accessed, not too bad. This is the problem. So yeah, going to loosen off all of these injector lines, I think, is the next step. And then there's a little bracket that I need to remove, and then there's some clips. So clip, bracket is back there. And I think this is a sensor. I think this needs to come off. So 1, 2, bracket, these here, and then I think we can start backing this out. But I might return to this tomorrow depending on how we go. Okay, I've got the fuel rails removed now. Some of them were quite rusty, and that was a bit sketchy. I was worried I was going to snap the rail. I might, again, while I'm here, I might look at just replacing some of this stuff, because it all looks quite perished. And I've been told, or well, haven't been told, videos I've watched said that they need to keep these clean. So I'm going to get some masking tape and just try and mask these off now. Give them a quick wipe down. These are all off. This is the main thing now. So again, we're still moving forward. Looks like there's a bracket I can get off, and yeah, getting there. So I've got all the injectors taped up, and those down there from the pump to stop any dirt getting in. Looks like my next task is to take this bracket off. So there's a bolt back there which needs to come out, it looks like, as well as these smaller ones. That looks like a 6mm Allen. And then if I come underneath, yeah, 6mm Allen at the back there with that bolt. And then if I slide that out, I can't with one hand. Oh, so 2 Allens there, look, 2. So those 2 Allen keys, the one with a star there. Star, bolt, Allen. And yeah, and then we're into the thick of it. So I keep saying to my mate I'm going to stop in a second, and I'm going to pick this up tomorrow. But I keep going. So these are T30s, and they're a little bit. I don't like how, you know, there's a lot of movement in there. T40s don't fit, so whether they're just quite worn or what, but I'm going to get a wire brush and try and sort that out. There is, what's that? Is that the other one down there? Oh, that's a lot better. That one goes in a lot deeper there. Shit, just dropped it. See that? There we go. Caught it. Threw it in there now. Okay, I'm back. It's day 2. I just watched a video about these next steps. I thought I was pretty confident, but I watched another video just to be sure. And what I've learned is that you can remove this top nut and determine whether the pump is pressurized at its highest point by putting a little drill bit in there. So what I'm looking at is this centerpiece between the injectors. I don't know if you can see it any better actually, but in there, I'll film it better in a second, but need to remove that, shove a drill bit in there, and then turn the engine over. And when that drill bit is at its longest length, that means that the pump is at its, you know, undermost pressure, and that's what we need to make sure nothing falls apart. So let's try that. And before I do that, no, maybe I will do that, but I also need to remove this switch thing at the top, and the remaining bits of this bracket. I realised I didn't film the removal of the fuel lines, so I've put them all in a bag here, but for your benefit, I was worried about these because they looked quite rusty, but a bit of WD-40, I think they were a 17mm spanner, and just really gently cracked them open on both ends, and you know, just be really careful, and I managed to pull those out. So just got this end piece out, and if I can focus, I need to go find a drill bit that is the same size as this. It looks like a 4mm one to me, just eyeballing it, and then I need to put that drill bit into the end of here, take a measurement, or I might be able to do it from under the van actually, but basically watch the drill bit move in and out in time with the pump and determine the point where it's furthest out, and then we can start removing the remainder of the nuts there on the bolts on the head there. Okay, this is my first measurement. It's looks about 50mm, maybe 51 if you include the point of the wood bit I've got in there. It is 4mm bit, so we'll call it 51 to the point. It's about 53, 54 to the very tip of this drill bit. That seems to be the furthest out it goes. Sorry, I did actually get out to 55. And when you're moving the crank round, you can almost feel it when it gets stiff. That's almost the top of the travel on the pump, so it kind of marries up, like the effort I'm having to put through, the force I'm having to put through this to when this is at its peak. There's like, that's where all the tension is, so you can kind of, I guess that makes sense. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to leave that where it is, and put the nut back in, bolt back in, and yeah, we've probably come out of top dead center now, but I think, I can't see, it's too dark, but I think that's probably more important, having the pump pressurized. So I'll put this back in. So I mean, I'm a little bit stuck here. The videos I've seen remove this sensor, but I'm having real problems budging that. I think it's a 24mm, but I've only got adjustable spanners that go up to that size, and I think my biggest spanners are 22, and it's just not gripping it as well as it needs to be gripped, and I'm worried I'm gonna round it off. In my head, I can't think why you can't do it with it in place. Might make it a little bit more tricky, but I think I'm gonna just keep moving forward. I've just removed the bottom left Allen or star bolt and the top right, so this one and the one diagonally opposite down there. This one's still in place, and so is this one under here. The bottom left one, which holds the bracket, is longer, so I think I'm going to put that in place. Perhaps I might put these two back in, basically, is what I'm trying to say, and then take out the other two and work with one which is a bit longer, to act as a bit of a safety net, because the thread won't run out as quick, I don't think. Yeah, it shouldn't do. So I'm going to put those two back in, take the other two out. Okay, so this bolt is out, this bolt is out down here, this one's in but loose, and the one opposite corner is also in but loose. I can see a gap starting to show, but what I don't like is that this is very loose, and my understanding was that the pump would push this head off. That's not happening. It seems to be stuck. There is a gap forming at the back there as well, which is good, but yeah, I thought you could quite easily unscrew this further. You know, I was hoping it would be snug, and actually as you unscrewed it would follow it out, so you know there's always pressure on it, but it doesn't seem to have pressure on it, so that's a little bit worrying. Does that mean it's not pressurized? Should I try and turn the crank to see if it moves? Maybe first of all I'll try and wedge something in there. Okay, it just needed a bit of encouragement. I just gave it a gentle pry and it popped out a little bit and revealed the gap now, so I'm starting to see in there. I don't see the O-ring yet, so you've got a little bit more way to go. Sprung a leak, so I guess that's good. You can see the O-ring now, just about. It doesn't look like it's enough, again, compared to videos I've seen, it doesn't look like it's enough to get it out. To me, it's right up against it. The videos I've seen, you've actually been able to see the other side of it, so it's getting a bit sketchy now though, because there is play in this now. This does wobble. So I've got about 5 more threads, and that's what I can see, and the other one I can't see. So yeah, it's nerve-wracking. I've done it. I've just sliced it, so that is now free. So I just need to hook it out of there. But again, I'll put the camera down and do this. But I've had this scalpel here. Let me show you what I did. I went in and just nipped it, so it is free, and I can see that. So good. Let's get it out. So now just getting the new one in and sitting nicely in that groove. When you wobble the head around, you can hear like springs and stuff clicking. I don't think they've fallen out of place, but it just goes to show how loose stuff is in there. So yeah, I think we're okay, but don't like it. So here's my new one. New one's green for some reason. The old one is flat on the bottom. I guess that's just from age. I guess it was once circular, but this one is much more supple, and yeah, this one's quite hard. Stretched it over, stretched it more than I wanted to. Also rolled in
you know, quite a bit of grime there, which was actually in the end quite unavoidable, but that's worrying. I think I'm just going to give it a quick spray of WD-40 just to rinse it off real quick. I hope that's not a terrible idea. Google says yes, it will fuck it up, so I'm going to try and wipe it with a rag as best I can and try and get some more Vaseline in there. Didn't actually do too bad a job of cleaning it then. Using a really small Allen key and a rag, got in there quite well and cleaned it. You can just see a bit of grease there. I've tried to slap in there. Now I've put in the other two opposing bolts. I'm going to nip them up a little bit and then remove the ones that were there originally, and that should allow the band to drop into place. Band is seated as best as I can tell. Put the bolts back in. I'm going to start nipping them down now. Hopefully close this up and then yeah, put the injector pipes back on and start reassembly. It's probably not going to get done tonight though. It's probably going to bleed into tomorrow. I'm losing the light, but we've got everything back in. The head of the pump is on. It's tight. It looks sealed up as far as I can tell. The bracket's back on. The little switch thing's back in, and this little cable to this sensor is also back in. That took a long time actually, trying to just make sure all those bolts were being tightened evenly and it was pushing the pump head on squarely, making sure it wasn't pinching the O-ring or anything like that. But I'm pretty happy with it. I was worried that it would. I heard of stories of getting it. You could get it into a point and then you just couldn't tighten the head down anymore. That's usually a sign of something's come loose inside that's blocking the seating of it. That didn't happen, so it's back on. I'm going to try and get the fuel rails on, I think. Okay, fuel lines all back on. It's getting dark. The radiator's going back in, so I've just connected the power steering lines up. Here. Put the little hinge things back on. I'm going to put in the thermostat in just 1 second. Just these two main pipes now. Okay, day 3. Essentially I've just put the radiator back on. I've connected the power steering lines here and behind here. And then the two main hoses for the coolant here by the bottom and here at the top. I really struggled with these clamps. Couldn't get them wide enough to slip over the hose and the fitting on the radiator, so I just bought some hose clips. So these look wet to me, but I'm not sure why. Is it? Not sure. Maybe they're fine. I'm going to wipe those fuel rails down, see if they return to being wet. But the pump's not dripping, and that's the main thing. So yeah, I think we can call that a success. It did take a really long time for it to turn over, because I guess because there was, we'd lost a lot of pressure from the pump and everything from the fuel line, so it was empty. So there was probably about a good 30 to 45 seconds of solid just cranking, which was beginning to worry me. But then it caught and it fired straight up, and yeah, we're good. So to wrap up, the van's back together, front back on and the radiator back in last night. It's now Wednesday morning. I started this job on Sunday. I spent about 3 hours on it on Sunday, about 2 hours on it Monday night, about 2 hours on it again last night. So a total of 5, 6, 7 hours. I took my time, but I've been filming this as well. Just been really careful about every little thing I've been doing. I could probably do it in half the time again now. But yeah, a job well done. Probably saved a few quid. And yeah, the van lives for another day. I hope this helps some of you out. I wish I found a video like this when I started this. So yeah, good luck.